Hi guys, this is Brandy from Sew and Back. We are back in my kitchen because I've gotten a couple questions. One of the questions that I've gotten has been, what if you don't have a grain mill to mill? I've also gotten some people who've liked some of my gluten-free recipes. They're not necessarily interested in going with a wheat, and so they want to stay more gluten-free. And and so you can do gluten-free with a food mill, but I think the big thing has just been, I don't have a grain mill, and you know, right now it's probably not the best time for us to afford to go buy one with everything costing so much money, and I totally get that. So I want to kind of show you some ways that you can make things if you don't have freshly milled flour. I do have freshly milled flour, but I also have an organic, this is an organic all-purpose einkorn from Jovial. Okay, if you're not doing that, you can get Bob's Red Mill Organic. Bob's Red Mill Organic gluten-free, the 1-to-1, you can use that in this recipe I'm going to show you. The other thing I have is, I'm no good at sourdough, or I haven't got there yet, but you still want to be able to add good probiotics in your cooking. So this recipe is going to show you how you can do that if you don't have sourdough starter. Now I will be using sourdough starter in mine along with the other trick because I need it to sour my grains. Because I'm not using gluten-free. Now if I were using gluten-free, I would not use the sourdough starter at all. I would just use the little trick with the 1-to-1, and it would work really well. So what we're going to make today, last week for the first day of fall, I did an apple pancake recipe, and it was delicious. My kids everybody liked it. Matter of fact, they didn't last very long, and they lasted so not long that I was making, a couple days later, I was making some more pancakes. But I decided to try something different, and I kind of made a joke in last week's video. I figured you're getting pumpkined out. But the great thing about this recipe and this trick is that you can supplement this item for plain, if you don't want any kind of flavor, you just want some plain probiotic rich pancakes. It also could be any of the flavors that you may find this product. Now, there's different ones on the market, but I had gotten this one in my little haul, and I don't know why, but I just thought it sounded good. And so we're going to be using kefir, okay? We're going to be using this instead of using milk or our buttermilk. I typically use buttermilk, but I used this instead, and it made the most amazing pancakes. Now this one is a flavored. This one is perfect for fall. It's a pumpkin spice, but it wasn't like over the top pumpkin-y. It just had such a great flavor. They were very fluffy and had great air in them. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Or I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. All right, so again, the base that I'm using for my pancakes is from Sue Becker, from the Bread Beckers, but I've taken some liberty with it. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. Whether you're gluten-free or you have allergy, you have to cook allergy-friendly. Your sourdough, you need sourdough, or you just can go to the store and buy any old flour, you don't have any problems. You can do all of these things. You can do the same recipe no matter where you're at, okay? So I want to encourage you to take liberty in your kitchen, take your kitchen back, and have fun and create. So that's kind of what I did with this recipe. So I took a base recipe and then I played around with it. And I think that's how some of the best recipes are made. So what I'm going to take is I'm going to take 1 cup of my sourdough starter, okay, discard from my sourdough. I'm going to take 1 cup of my freshly milled flour. Okay, if you do not have sourdough, and you don't have freshly milled flour, then you're just going to take 2 cups of flour, whether you're doing a gluten-free flour or whether you're doing a from the grocery store all-purpose, hold on, this one's heavy, all-purpose kind of flour, whatever it is that you are using, that's what you're going to do. So you're going to end up having 2 cups. Mine's just going to be, I'm going to have 1 cup of freshly milled to 1 cup of my sourdough discard, okay? Then you're going to have 2 eggs. You're going to have about 2 tablespoons of honey. I forgot to get my honey. If you don't want to do honey, you could do maple syrup. You could probably leave it out if you want. I think it adds a nice flavor. It's not super sweet or anything like that. And I have raw honey, so I know it's good for us and all that. You're going to have 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt. You're going to need 3 tablespoons of oil. I am using coconut oil. I like that in these kinds of baked goods and stuff like that. I think that it lends it a nice flavor. You can do olive oil. I have done olive oil that was a butter infused olive oil, so it tasted like butter. If you don't, you may get a kind of off-putting taste that sometimes plain olive oils can give you. So I would just say be a little wary with that one. Otherwise, you could use any other kind of oil that you want, okay? The other things we're going to add is instead of using a cup of buttermilk or milk, we're going to use a cup of probiotic kefir, okay? I'm using the pumpkin spice, but you could use plain, you could use any. And what this is going to do is it's going to give you those probiotics in your food similar to a sourdough, okay? So you don't have a sourdough, but you still want those probiotics that you're trying to sneak in or get, for you to eat, your kids to eat. This is how you do it, okay? The other thing I'm going to be adding is a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of pumpkin spice because I'm doing pumpkin. So if you were doing like a berry or something like that, I think I'd leave that off. I wouldn't be I definitely would leave pumpkin spice off. I think I would just leave that off and not worry about it. But because mine are pumpkin-y, I'm going to add that to my recipe. So. You can see them, they're coming up. That's the probiotic, it's alive, okay? That's what you want to get into your gut health. So one of the things that you can do, like in bread, you have to let it proof or whatever. Well, it's helpful if you're going to make like your own cornbread and you're going to use buttermilk and all that kind of stuff to do the same thing. It will rise up a little bit. It'll make your cornbread a little bit, heftier, and it gives it a really nice texture. So if you're doing like a southern cornbread, you're going to get that really nice crunch on the outside, but inside you're going to have the little air pockets, and it's just all kinds of wonderfulness. Now if you like a sweet cornbread, what we call in our parts Yankee Cornbread, I mean that as a joke, but that is what they would call it. They call the other southern cornbread, which is a more savory cornbread, and they'll call the other Yankee cornbread because it's sweet. I don't know why. That's just what I've been told my whole life. Anyway, I tend to stay away from the sweet cornbread, not because it's delicious, okay? It's like dessert, because it is not good for my blood sugar. It spikes my blood sugar, so I typically don't do that. But if you like a savory cornbread, a sweet cornbread, you still can let it rise, and it'll kind of puff up a little bit more. It'll be more cakey. So either way, it's good if you let it sit, at least 15 minutes, but you could let it sit up to an hour if you wanted to. And so that's kind of what I'm going to do. I've got this prepped, and it'll be ready to go when I'm ready to do this portion for our dinner. I'm going to clean this up, and I will show you how I'm simply going to cook them just like I did last week. I put a little butter in my skillet, and I scoop out, I typically will use the half measuring cup, and I'll just scoop a couple out. Depending on how big your pan is that you're using, you want your pan to be very well seasoned and hot, but you don't want it to burn. So you got to kind of monitor that. If you put butter in your pan and it starts to burn, you need to let your pan come down just a little bit, but you don't want it to be cold. Okay, so I've also done these out on our Blackstone griddle thing, outside grill, whatever it's called. And that's always nice to do out there because, I can do like 8 of them at a time. Some of you may have a big griddle pan. I don't have one of those inside with my new stove, but it goes quick enough. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that hack. Like I said, I will show you how I cook them up and what they look like. But if you don't have the bread mill, or maybe you're saving for a bread mill, or you're hoping someday to get a bread mill, do the best you can, with what you have. If you're gluten-free, try things. Gluten-free things, a lot. So many of them, they taste like paper. They're not very good. Experiment. Even if you fail, I guarantee you'll make something that tastes better normally than what you can go and buy and spend a boatload of money on. So get in your kitchen and try to experiment with some of these things so that you can find some joy, even if you are living with a lot of allergies and things like that maybe take away the joy of cooking and stuff like that. There are ways that you can swap things out. Look at a traditional recipe and say, maybe if I try this. I had that happen this week, and in my opinion, I think it was a fail, but my son liked it and my husband liked it. I don't know, he was just being nice. I thought it turned out like glue. So I did an apple crisp. I had a lot of apples that we had gotten on sale. I think I got them at Little, on my little haul, or one of the little hauls, I don't know. And it was either I needed to dehydrate them or I needed to use them. And I thought, well, I'll make an apple crisp because my son had been asking for an apple pie, and I thought, well, I'd like to try to figure this out. And I was trying to figure out a sourdough apple crisp, and I was trying to also use it with a Truvia brown sugar. And I think that was kind of where maybe it went a little south. It wasn't horrible. To me, it was a little gummy. And especially if you tried to reheat, it really got kind of gummy. But it still tasted okay. Everybody still ate it and liked it, and nothing went to waste. And I learned something in the process. So that's what I want to try to encourage you, is to learn in the process, find joy in your kitchen. No matter, maybe you're on a very fixed income, and then you know what, go to your Aldi's, go to your Little, and get the best that you can get for you, because it's still going to be 1,000 times better than going, fast food or something like that. There is an old farm down the street from our house that's not a farm anymore, it's a park now. As the family passed away and all that kind of stuff years ago, they sold it to our city so it could turn into a park. And we loved the park. I think it was a great thing. However, I remember when my little boys were little, we used to walk down because we'd go pet the cows that were down there. But there's some hidden finds on the property if you know where to go. And one of them is the secret persimmon tree. And so that's a persimmon. Now this is a native persimmon. This is not one of the Asian varieties. The Asian ones are really sweet and self-fertile, and they don't have that real crazy astringent flavor, taste, make you pucker up. But we found a couple. Those aren't quite ripe enough yet that I got, but we actually found two that were very ripe. They just fell in my hand. And I've only gotten to crack one of them. They were slimy. We had to carry these home all the way. But anyway, I wanted to show you what I got on my persimmon reading. Let's see if I can show you. Like I said, I've only gotten one of them open, but I've been seeing everybody doing their persimmon readings, and everybody is coming up this year all spoons, and I've got a spoon. I mean, that's a perfect spoon right there. Hopefully I'm not blocking you. Put a little butter in there. And then I'm just gonna do this is a ½ cup scoop. This is not my big skillet, but this is my really great seasoned skillet. Matter of fact, that's probably too much butter. So I'll take some of it out for the next one. And then you can pour this, but I don't know. I just like doing the ½ cup. They're more uniform. And what you're looking for is once they've been cooking and they start to bubble up all around, that's when you want to flip them. And then probably you leave them for about 30 seconds on the other side. So you can see you're getting some bubbles, but you want to have them pretty good before you try to flip them. Sorry. And I'm going to be trying this. I'm holding the camera with one hand, and I'm going to try to flip with my little handy spatula with the other. I don't know where I got this little spatula at. I love this thing. I've never seen it anywhere else, and I don't even remember where I got it. I've had it for a couple of years, but I love it. Alright, this one's starting to look almost there. But you see how the bubbles got bigger? Let's see. Ah, now that's nice. You still see the bubbles going. That's the Probotics. So, those look good. And see how they're kind of rising up? They got a nice rise to them. I need to turn my heat down. It's a little hot. And they smell pumpkin-y. Yeah, those are about done. And I got 14. I hope you'll give it a try. I think it might be a different way of thinking about how to, some ways that if you don't do sourdough or you don't have a sourdough yet and you're wanting to get those good probiotics in your health and for your diet and in your gut, kefir is a good one to go. Like I said, you also can do your own kefir. You can make it. There's all kinds of ways and places you can get different cultures from. I think Cultures for Health is probably the one most people know. I know you can get that usually from Azure, or you can go directly through Cultures for Health. They usually have all kinds of little sales and deals that they do all throughout the year. So I don't know that it would, I mean, if you were getting an Azure order, then it might be something you want to throw in there. If not, I've ordered directly from Cultures for Health. So it's a good company and they have good products. So anyway, if you found value in this, I would appreciate a like, subscribe, or share our video. That helps us a lot. We appreciate it. We appreciate that you stopped by. And if you have any questions below about allergy, gluten-free, sourdough, any of those things, just write down in the comment. I have an answer. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.